Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, tmosso@the1916company.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on our platforms. Reach out to us for pricing, tmosso@the1916company.com. Today, we're discussing a watch that I am happy to present because I love this type of watch. Fun, useful, and enduring. In fact, it is the Breitling Endurance Pro, a model launched in 2020. It is made of Brightlight, a material launched in 2016, and we will talk plenty about Brightlight in a moment. But first comes fit. 44 millimeters in diameter, the watch is 12.8 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 52.6 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, so this watch wears nicely. It's probably at its limit. In terms of size, you could see down the barrel, which is always the definitive shot, the lugs are out to the edge of my wrist, not beyond, but also not a whole lot inboard. So I'd say if your wrist is my size or larger, game on. It's going to be big and prominent because, let's face it, it's a big stark black watch with Breitling's signature intrepid orange. But if you like the look of a large sports watch, this is going to be a great fit. Being all rubber, Brightlight, and sapphire, it is super light, almost toy-like in the hand and on the wrist. Taking a quick look at the cuff shot, being under 13 millimeters thick, it is surprisingly thin for a watch like this, so it should slide underneath the jacket cuff. Let's take a distance shot right there. Take a look at the strap. Vulcanized rubber, a brand new Breitling factory strap. You can see there are hollows on the bottom to vent the wrist and allow a little bit more flexibility. We have a Breitling Professional Series strap, one of the most recent with a combination of embossing and debossing, a candy bar like letter text, and of course the candy bar of reference here, because we're in Pennsylvania, would be the Hershey bar, which is made out in Hershey. Your mileage may vary. You may think Cadbury if you are European-based, or maybe Milka or Nestle. But in any case, this is a watch that is too good to eat. As you can see, made of Brightlight, that is one type of fiber you probably could not process. But you're going to be happy to see it on this pin buckle, because a lot of watches that are made of composite or some sort of ceramic or carbon fiber, they'll often use a buckle that is conventionally metal but black PVD'd. This is actually made of Brightlight, which means Breitling has enough confidence in the material to build smaller, finer, and potentially more delicate pieces out of it, which speaks well to its impact resistance and long-term durability. So, very simple. You have a strap with a little bit of a profile to match the elevation of the bridge. So you can see when the strap is in the buckle, that elevated bridge means the two sort of interlocks. There's not a whole lot of additional stack height under the wrist. That elevated bridge is a nice little touch. Taking a look at the strap itself in profile, super thick and substantial. This is a strap that has every indication of being a half-decade or more strap. Okay, Brightlight, what is it? Well, it's unarguably some sort of composite, and the vast majority of what you're looking at is the resin that gives it its structure and its shape and its physical resilience, its hardness. What's inside the resin is more of a guess. It is one or more of fiberglass, nylon, or carbon fiber. And so it's that fiber that gives it the distinctive grain, which will differ from watch to watch, and also its composite structure, which prevents any kind of scratch from becoming a crack that can run all the way through it. So it's very durable against impact because of the combination of resins and also fibers. Likely this is a material that is also cured or autoclaved to preserve it and lock in its shape and structure so it doesn't continue to set or cure after the manufacturing process. There are some character lines in the mid case, as well as this little expanding bevel along the lugs and some faceting at the end of the lug profile. All the metal hardware here is titanium and media blasted. You can see the case is also made of Brightlight. Brightlight is 5.8 times lighter than steel and about 3.3 times lighter than titanium. So you can really understand what I mean when I say this watch is almost toy-like in the way it feels. We do have some rubber in the form of a shoulder around the crown, and then a little collar around the start-stop trigger has been colored orange, so you know that that is the one that starts and stops. We have a bezel constructed in Breitling's traditional fashion, the captive bezel, with screws that hold the bezel in place, so it's not snapped into place, it's held on by screws. It's the same way Breitling would make a metal case, and I'm happy to see it here. It is a more deluxe and somewhat more expensive way to make a bezel, but you can't accidentally hit it and snap it off, so it's more durable too. There are no detents, there is no click to this bezel. It glides smoothly and seamlessly. Very luxurious, silky, almost like there's some Teflon in there, or it's a Norglide bearing or something very much like it. Compass rose style, so this can remind you of your heading, or your intended heading, or your reverse heading while you're hiking or sailing or driving or flying. It can also be used in conjunction with the hour hand and the location of the sun to help you physically navigate. So for example, in the northern hemisphere, if you point the hour hand at the sun, then south will be halfway between the hour hand and 12 o'clock on the dial. And of course, north will be the opposite of that. There is a similar setup to be used if you are in the southern hemisphere to find north, south, and the other cardinal points of the compass. So you can use this for navigation. There's a pulsometric scale on the Reho, which is orange, and that can be used in conjunction with the chronograph to gauge the pulse of a patient or even you. So if you want to know what your pulse rate is, you start the chrono while counting your pulses, and when you get to 30 pulses counted, you stop the chrono. So here you can see that your extrapolated 1 minute pulse rate would be something just below 140. So let's say maybe 134, 135. So that would be your pulse rate over a minute. Now it's a 1/10 of a second chronograph. You have a little 1/10 of a second totalizer. You get your chrono minutes, you get your chrono seconds. And then, of course, that will tell you how many tenths of a second have elapsed within that second. You have a reset that is a wonderful piece of horological theater. Now, the watch does include a manual centering mode. So if you pull the crown out to the intermediate position, you can actually start adjusting things by using these pushers to select which register is going to be corrected. And so you can individually recenter the seconds, the tenths of seconds, or the minutes. If for some reason they continuously reset to a number that is not zero, again, pull the crown out to the intermediate position, use these two triggers to select which of the registers you're going to correct, and then you can do so. Now, you can also see that if I pull the crown out all the way, I activate hacking seconds, and if I turn in the opposite direction here, there is a mechanical quick set for the date. Now, the watch is powered by a super quartz movement. What does that mean? Well, that means this movement, which Breitling calls caliber 82, is a quartz chronometer and then some. So a quartz chronometer is one of the rarest types of COSC chronometers. The vast majority certified are mechanical. While mechanical can be inaccurate to the degree of -4 seconds per 24 hours or +6 seconds over that period, whereas a quartz chronometer may deviate by no more than 25 seconds per year, and a super quartz from Breitling will deviate by no more than 10 to 15 seconds per year. So quite impressive on that front. Also thermocompensated so that high or low temperatures will not cause undue deviation in the timing of the watch. There is an end of life indicator that will let you know you are reaching the end of the battery life. The second hand will jump in 4-second increments, every 4 seconds, that is. The watch has a 3 to 4 year battery life if you don't use the chronograph extensively, but you're probably going to play with it because, well, the foudroyant is fun, the flying seconds hand. And with frequent chrono use, it's going to be more like 2 years of life. It is a 4-jewel movement, and you're probably wondering what the base caliber is. Well, it's an ETA. I used to think that these were based on the ETA 251 series, but that is a 27-jewel movement because Breitling reveals this to be a 4-jewel movement. That means it's more likely something along the lines of a G10, the G10-212 being my best guess as to what's in here, meaning this is a very elite and upgraded, thermocompensated and chronometer certified version of what you would find in something like a moon swatch. So that's what's going on there. This is a watch with a lot of durability, being extremely resistant to any kind of marks, fracturing, blows, hot, cold. It's 100 meters water resistant. There is a fair amount of lume. This is a true sports watch that you can't see the chrono functions in the dark. You may also note that if you leave the chrono running long enough, the foutoyant will eventually stop in order to save batteries, and what will happen is when you stop, it'll tell you how many tenths of seconds are elapsed. It keeps recording that number, it just doesn't display it. The microprocessor keeps that, so when you finally do stop it, it will show you how many tenths have elapsed, and then of course you can reset it and have lots of fun that way. If you love this watch, and there are a lot of reasons to love this, this is the ultimate daily driver. This is a watch you can beat on while still enjoying Swiss precision, and everything from the movement to the Brightlight material itself is Swiss made, so this is luxury quartz done right in a pure tool watch format. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.